Today, professor and spiritual philosopher Ramesh Richard presents a different formula.
A brilliant friend of mine, classmate, as I opened the world's most well-known newspaper, her face was in the business pages. Extremely well-to-do in terms of the PMF index. She was leaving that morning, conflicted in her soul about going to her child's only daughter's piano recital or getting on a private jet headed off to France. She was looking at her jewelry box, she said, and her $500 wines and her Armani suits. Getting on the plane, not being able to go to her piano recital of her only daughter, said, "I'm giving it up." For the last 4 years, she's been reading on the meaning of life. 1,500 books. Can't make anything else that which stabilizes you. Success will not stabilize you. A third loss may be called the philosophical loss of purpose. If you only concentrate on gain, you will lose the larger purpose for life. Human beings are not like brutes. We need interior integration, mental coherence. We need purpose in life, and purpose of life, and purpose for life. That's why Viktor Frankl, the great psychologist of meaning, said, unless you know the why, you can't put up with the what. And even if you're successful with the what, you better know the why. What's the fourth loss? Write this down. What may be called the ethical loss of value or moral loss of principle. 4, as you pursue success, it can become an obsession. And what is most important to you becomes less priority. You start compromising on your values. It's happened all over the world. The history of business and politics is littered with people who compromised on their values, the moral values, because they wanted power, money, or fame. At the turn of the last century, 100 years ago, William James, the one who integrated physiology, psychology, and philosophy, wrote a letter to his friend H.G. Wells, some know him as the father of modern science fiction. And he said, when moral flabbiness is born of exclusive worship of the bitch goddess of success, it becomes our national disease. It's actually become our global disease. If you gain the whole world and lose your soul, what does it really profit you? Some time ago in Asia, a young lady, 15 years old, was with her chauffeur driving in her parents' brand new Mercedes. On the airport road, they were in a huge, hard collision. The loss of the car was not the sad part of the story. In fact, this young lady became paralyzed, 15 years old, from waist down, but that was not the saddest part of the story. The saddest part of the story was that neither the father or mother wanted to take their paralyzed daughter. They were pursuing mind-blowing success, but they lost values. Finally, there's a spiritual loss of priority. So what really is priority in your life? That's an immediate loss. Let me ask you, is the external more important than the internal in your life? Is the physical more important than the spiritual? Is the earthly more important than the eternal? Is the circumstantial more important than the absolute? If you answered yes to any of those questions, you've lost priority. As you possibly know, in the fastest growing economy in the world, the story is told of a Beijing new billionaire businessman who bought himself a fabulous Bentley paying $900,000. He was racing down a busy Beijing road. A public bus, transportation bus, hit him. It took off the side of his car. He got out yelling, saying, my car, weeping over his new car. And the bus driver tried to put some sense into him and said, hey, why are you crying over your car? You don't have an arm. Your arm has been torn away from your body. And he looked at his arm as to where it should have been and began to say, my Rolex, where is my new Rolex? The loss of priority. 5 immediate losses by gaining the world and losing your soul. It's immediate losses. You gain the whole world, you'll have immediate loss of soul, but worse than that, you'll have an eternal loss. Not only eternal loss of everything that you've gained, but eternal loss of your soul. The patriarch of the Rockefeller family was asked when he would feel rich. He said, if I had $1 more. When he died, they asked the accountant how much he had left. And he said, everything. Eternal loss of everything that he had gained, but eternal loss of the soul. If you gain the whole world and lose your soul, what does it really profit you? I'll be right back.
Have you considered these 5 losses that accompany the pursuit of success? In just a moment, we'll return to the global broadcast Successful Success. Log on to RameshRichard.com.